We are gathered here today to sip some tea, honey. So make sure you guys have your teacups ready because this tea is what? Piping hot. Hey, you guys, it's your girl T, and this is a different type of video. If you follow me on Patreon, then you guys remember the email that I sent out to everybody a few weeks ago. So I want to kind of get on this series. First, let me say that I was literally shocked and overwhelmed at the response I got from my Kendrick Lamar video. I was so surprised at how many people, young and old, and people even older than me, who were asking me for advice and telling me to do a video on credit and tell people, what I know about finance and just certain things like that. I was surprised that people would even want me to speak on that or want to know anything from me because, as you guys know, I'm not the most articulate person on YouTube. I stick to my genre, which is, celebrity news and viral stories. That's what I enjoy doing. And a lot of people have it misconstrued on who I am because I am private. I kind of keep to myself. I don't fool with many people online at all. I'm not on social media all the time. I might post stuff on Instagram here and there. But for the most part, my life is outside of the internet. I love YouTube, but I have a lot of stuff going on outside of it. And so a lot of people have things misconstrued about me, or they think like I'm stupid or ditzy or a hood rat. I've heard all types of shit, and that's cool. I don't ever take that stuff personal, because I like for people to underestimate me. I like for people to think I'm just some ghetto black girl sitting here buying a bunch of weave and spending my money on red bottoms, just all the stupid shit that people think about black women. But the people who really know me and know how I get down in real life can tell you TT is about finance, TT is about credit. Instead of constantly spending my money on purses and shoes and stuff like that, I'd rather invest my money. I'd rather have IRAs and invest in stocks and bonds and things like that. Like, those are the things I enjoy. And then on top of that, technology. People who know me, I used to work in IT. I love technology. So that's another thing that really keeps me interested, learning new things, learning what's coming out. Gadgets, electronics, those are things that I really, really love. So I always find it funny when people have me so misconstrued and think like I'm just into weave and makeup. I rarely, if ever, even wear makeup, but it's whatever. Like I said, I was overwhelmed and I was just flattered that people would want to know my opinion on anything concerning credit and finance and stuff like that. And for people who know me, people know I'm very big on my business. I keep track of everything. Everything goes on my Excel spreadsheet folder, so I keep a whole spreadsheet of my monthly expenses and, what I pay out and, just different things. So I keep track of a lot of stuff, and I'm just really big when it comes to finance and credit, so I'm probably going to just do this in a series. I don't know how this is going to come out. So I'm just going to kind of just talk, and hopefully you guys will take something away from this. I'm kind of nervous because it's not normally what I talk about. And like I said, I'm not the most articulate person. So I want to, hope I can get it out where you guys understand where I'm coming from. So I guess what I want to address first in this series is basically how I found out about credit and why I feel like credit is very important. So this goes way back. You guys know I was a teen mom. So I got my first apartment, and it was out, there wasn't really a city bus. Okay. It was kind of out in the suburbs. So I needed a car to get back and forth. And at that time I was getting ready to start school and everything. So I remember I asked my mom, can you please help me get a car? This car is, $5,000. Can we get a loan or something? So my mom was like, okay, fine. So we go to the bank to try and see if she can get a loan for me to get this car. And what I didn't know at the time is that, my mom's credit was not up to par. And it was just really shaky at the time. And basically the bank was just pulling up her financial history. And they're like, right now we can't give the loan to you. We're sorry. And I'll never forget that feeling. She was really upset. And of course I was upset because it's dang, how am I going to get to and from? And I remember telling myself, at that point, because my son was with me as well, I remember telling myself, I never want to be in a position where my son needs something like a loan or just whatever, and I can't financially help my child. I never want to be in that position because I saw how hurt and embarrassed my mom was that she couldn't help me, even though she really wanted to help me. So after that, it made me really want to figure out, what the hell is credit? The only thing I knew about credit up until then was the jokes on Comic View, how, D.L. Hughley would tell jokes about bill collectors calling his house and, saying stuff and him switching up his voice. And, it was always jokes when it came came to like credit and black people. So I never saw the importance of it because the only time I ever heard about credit was when black folks were joking about bill collectors and having things in debt. So eventually what I had to do, basically a family friend ended up having a car and they were willing to sell it for like $1,000. So I saved up my money. I was working at Best Buy at the time. Again, I love technology. So I was working at Best Buy at the time. And so I just saved up my money and I eventually just paid cash for the car, and the car was able to get me back and forth. So like I said, I never wanted to be in this situation where I couldn't help my child. At that point, I went on a quest to start figuring out how to build my credit. And the internet was around, but it wasn't like this, you know what I'm saying? And I had a computer, but it was really slow. It was dial-up. It was hard to figure out everything, so I started asking people, well, how do I build my credit? How do I get credit? And it's like nobody had the answers. Like, adults twice my age. Well, I don't know, apply for a credit card. I don't know, just go to the store and see if they'll give you a card. Like nobody really had any answers for me. So I remember me and my really good homeboy, David, we used to go to Target, and at that time, Target would be like, oh, apply for a card. You can get a free 2-liter. And we would do that. And so eventually his mom found out what we were doing, and she was like, no, you guys need to stop that because you guys are going to mess up your credit before you've even established it, because you're going to have the credit bureaus looking up your name and looking at your credit. Just stop. You guys are doing the most for a 2-liter pop. So at that point we stopped. And so I remember David got his first credit card. So his mom had good credit and everything else, so she was able to get him a credit card and stuff like that. And the whole time I'm like legit trying to apply for stuff. I'm getting turned down. And then I find out that not having credit is the same as having bad credit because you haven't established anything. So then eventually my cousin was like, you know what? There is one credit card company that I know will approve you. And then if you get approved through them, then at that point, you'll start getting other credit cards in the mail. And this was like after 6 months of just like applying randomly, going online and applying and getting denied constantly. So I ended up going to a store called Express, and Express is still around. And I went to the store and I applied for a credit card and they approved me on the spot. When I tell you I was super happy because I had been trying to apply for credit for like 6 months and I just couldn't, I wasn't getting approved. But Express helped me. So this might be something that you guys can do for those who are looking to get a credit card and establish their credit, right? So I went to Express. They gave me a $300 limit. I'll never forget that. And so my cousin was like, oh, you can, buy whatever you want in the store, go shopping. And I was like, no, I'm not going to spend the whole $300 because, I wasn't balling at the time. I was a young mother going to school and working and stuff like that. So I bought $100 worth of stuff. And then I asked my other friend that I was real cool with, her mom. Her name was Katie, and she was a white girl. And I remember I told her mom, I said, I finally got a credit card, because everybody knew my little credit card sob story. Like, they're not approving me. Why can't I get approved? Is it because I'm black? Like, I didn't know, And so her mom told me, her mom says, even if you have the $100 to pay it off right away, she said, don't pay it off right away. She said, send the minimum payment for at least 6 months, because then you'll start building your credit. If you pay it off right away, it's not telling the credit bureaus anything. So that's what I did. So for the next 6 months, I sent them $10 a month, which was the minimum payment. I always sent it on time, never missed a payment. And then after the 6 months, I just paid off the remaining balance. So once I did that and I was able to establish my credit history and show, how I pay my bills, I started getting credit card offers like left and right. Okay. Because now I had established my credit history. So I remember my first major credit card was a Capital One card, and the balance, the credit limit, was $800. So I got that. And then I got approved for my first Target card, and then like Mervyn's California, Kohl's, so I was getting all these different cards now. And it's so funny because I still have these cards till this day. Like, they send me some of the best deals. People always crack up like, how the hell do you get like all these deals at Kohl's? I've literally been like a Kohl's card member since I was like 19. You know what I'm saying? I've never missed a payment with them, never missed a payment with Target. They send me all types of deals that most people don't even get. There's been times I've gone to Kohl's and literally gotten like maybe $100 worth of stuff and probably paid $15. Like, that's how much coupons and discounts, and like I'm like part of their elite club, okay? So because of those cards, I knew to keep my credit up. I never missed a payment. If I couldn't afford something, I didn't need it. So I always kept my credit on point. And so that really helped establish me. So that's the one thing you want to think about as a young person. When you do get your first credit card, do not go fucking buck crazy and just go buy whatever. Always think whatever you buy. It's just like if you have money in the bank, that's where people get it misconstrued. Do you have enough money to pay this off? You don't want to go spend $800 right off the bat if you only have $100 in your account. You know what I'm saying? So you want to be smart. Start with the small purchase. Start with maybe $100 or $200 purchase. Pay everything on time. Pay the minimum payment month by month for at least 6 months, and then pay it off. So that's how you initially start, building up your credit history if you're starting from scratch. So this is for like the younger kids who are like 18, 19. This is what I did. I don't know if you can still go to Express and get a credit card as easily, because like I said, this was like probably 15 years ago. I'm assuming you still can, but that's a really good place to start if you're trying to get a credit card. Start with a store card, and then eventually the major credit card companies will start sending you offers. So that's how I was able to build my credit. So one thing that I do want to talk about as well, I don't want to make this video too long, and I'm going to do this in different series. So this is just the first series. So that's how I got my credit card. So a lot of people ask me, what's the point of good credit? Who cares? Shouldn't it be about saving your money and finances and just saving your money and just not tricking it off? That's fine. You know what I'm saying? It's fine to save your money in the bank. It's fine to put stuff away for a rainy day. I do the same thing. But you need to realize that this world, the world that we're living in 2017, it runs on credit. And that's the thing that bothers me with all these so-called finance experts. They're always shaming people of color and saying, stop tricking off, stop buying jewelry, stop doing this, stop doing that. And that's fine. But why are you not telling them about credit? Like, you have to have good credit, you guys. Like, we just live in a world now where everything, your life is being determined by credit and your credit worthiness. And I worked in collections for years, and I saw so many people literally ruin their credit over something as stupid as a car, over something as stupid as trying to floss for people who don't matter. People getting into car payments that are $600-$700 a month. Meanwhile, their rent is $500. Like, why is your car note higher than your rent? It's insane. So one of the reasons why you need to have good credit is because credit will affect and determine where you live and how much you pay. You know what I'm saying? Especially in places like LA and New York. If I didn't have good credit, I would not be able to be staying in my condo that I'm at in the valley. If my credit was shit, I'd be in the hood somewhere. Let me just keep it 100. They do not play when it comes to credit. And your credit, once they run that and they see your credit worthiness, and if they feel like your credit score is under 700, you will be shut out of certain areas. You will be shut out of certain, affluent areas. Even if you can afford it because of your job or whatever you make, they still won't take you seriously because they're going to go off of that credit 9 times out of 10. So having good or bad credit, like I said, can determine where you live. If you decide to invest in a home, mortgage lenders want to know that you're not going to default on your mortgage. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have good credit, a lender is going to consider you a risky investment. And either you will not get approved, or if you do get approved, they will charge you a really high interest rate. Whereas somebody with good credit, let's say you have good credit and your friend has bad credit, and you guys are looking to, buy a home, the same exact home. So the bank runs your credit, the bank runs your friend's credit for the same home. Let's say the home is like $125,000 home, right? So if they run y'all's credit, you might get away because you have good credit. You'll be approved right away, and your mortgage is probably going to be no more than $800 a month. Your friend with bad credit, if they don't get denied, let's say they get approved, that same home, and because of their bad credit, if the bank is willing to take a risk on them for whatever reason, they're most likely going to be paying at least $1,000 to $1,500 a month. So they're going to be paying several $100s more for that same home that you're able to get for $800 a month. So that's why credit worthiness is very, very important. And a lot of people don't stress that. A lot of folks want to live, in nice areas. They want to get up out the hood. They want to move to the suburbs, and they go to apply. But as soon as the landlord runs their credit, it's like, nah, you can't move up in here because you have a UD, an unlawful detainer, or you don't pay your rent, or, you have this in collections or that in collections. it can definitely shut you out from certain things, okay? So now moving on from housing, it can also affect what you drive, your car payment. Just like I told you earlier in the story, I wanted to get a $5,000 car with my mother, but because I didn't have credit and her credit was, kind of shaky and bad at the time, I couldn't get the car. So I had to settle for a used, $1,000 Pontiac Sunbird. It was like a 1984, Yes, I was embarrassed to drive it, but then after a while I got over it because it's like all my other friends, they all had brand new cars and this and that, but a lot of their cars ended up getting repossessed. They couldn't afford the car notes, and my car was paid off and it got me from point A to point B. So I'm very grateful for that $1,000 car. You know what I'm saying? When I tell you your girl started from the bottom, honey, started from the bottom. I was rolling a 1984 Pontiac Sunbird, and this was like in 2002. So trust me, I was getting clowned all through the hood, but I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Because it was my car and it got me to where I had to go. And that's what I'm saying. When you have bad credit, it can affect the type of car that you get. So let's say you want a brand new 2017 Toyota Camry, like what Kendrick Lamar got his sister. Well, if your credit's not up to par, that's not going to be an option for you. You know what I'm saying? The car dealership man might be like, hey, we got this nice 2005 Toyota Camry that you can, look at, but you can't get the 2017. So that's another reason why it's important, because it can affect the type of car that you have, but not only that, the type of car payment. Because again, you have some lenders who are willing to work with people with shaky or bad credit, but again, your interest rate is going to be super high. And that's the department I worked in. I worked for City Financial, is we dealt with high risk customers who had car payments. So that was one of the things that we dealt with. We did collections, repossession, everything. And you would literally have these people in brand new cars, and their interest rate would be I've seen people's interest rate as high as 19%. That is insane for a car. You're literally paying for that car 3 times over. As soon as you drive that car off the lot, the value already depreciates, and you're literally paying for this car 3 times. So again, this is why credit worthiness is very, very important. You don't want to pay $600 a month for a Toyota Camry, whereas your homegirl with the good credit has that same as that car, 2017, and her car note's only 3 something. So those are the things that you have to really weigh about. This is why credit is very important. Another thing with credit, it can affect your job search. What a lot of people don't realize, and this is what I'm finding out now, my son, he's 16, so he's at that age now where he can start looking for a job. Like I knew for certain companies, like back in the day, like especially working like finance, collections, anything dealing with credit, you have to have good credit. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was at my job. You can't be sitting here calling somebody demanding they pay their bills, and then somebody's calling you, harassing you on your lunch break. You have to have good credit to work in finance. So I already knew that. That made sense that you had to have decent credit to work in corporate America. So now what's happening now is that a lot of young people are finding out that their credits are being ran for regular jobs. It's like you're at McDonald's, all you're doing is flipping burgers and dropping fries. Why does their credit matter? And I feel like the reason why a lot of these employers are now checking, people's credit history, because it's another way to keep young Black and minority kids out of the job field. Because if I can say, well, you know what, your credit is shaky, I don't want you dropping fries here because of your credit. That's just another way to keep people of color out of certain jobs. Now, technically, it's supposed to be illegal for a regular employer like fast food or, Dollar General, things that are not having to do with like finance or credit. It's supposed to be legal for them to do a credit check on you. But what we're finding out is more and more companies are doing this on the low. And in 2015, there was a class action lawsuit against Dollar General, Whole Foods, Panera Breads, because they were going behind people's backs and running their credit report and then using that as an excuse not to hire them. So I'm not saying that this is happening with all companies or even happening in fast food, but this might be the wave of the future. So that's another reason to really think about keeping your credit clean. And especially when you're looking for certain jobs, there's no way around a credit check. If you want to work in certain jobs making a certain amount of money, especially anything dealing with credit and finance and, loans and, things like that, you have to have good credit. So a lot of y'all need to realize how important credit is. Savings is good. Yes, save your money, but you have to build your credit, because now credit can really affect your job search. So you have a lot of people saying that, I've been applying for stuff and I've been putting in my resume, I've been doing this. How's your credit? See, nobody's talking about that. But the first thing I think is when you're applying for these jobs, especially jobs starting at $15 on up, the first thing I'm thinking to myself is, how's your credit? Because I know that employer is running your credit because they want to have a reason not to hire you. Because if they can hire their friends or, their family members and have them making $16, $17, $18 an hour, that's what they would prefer to do. So if they can find a way to shut your black ass out, that's what they're going to do. So a lot of folks don't even think about that. And that's one thing I had to tell my homeboy, because he's been, job searching and looking for work, and he has his degrees, smart brother. But I told him the other day, I said, well, how's your credit? He's like, what you mean? He's like, it's okay. I said, that's probably the problem. These employers are now running credit checks, especially for the job field that he's looking to get into. So people need to realize that your credit can literally affect every aspect of your life. And this is what I don't see people talking about on YouTube when they're giving all this finance advice. I'm not seeing this, on YouTube videos. So I'm glad that you guys kind of encouraged me to do this video, because this is a lot of stuff that I just know, so I really hope you guys are getting something from this. And I hope I'm coming off articulate where you guys can understand everything I'm saying. Okay, so another way that it can affect you is your ability to start your own business, okay? One thing I hear on YouTube all the time is that I'm a brand. I'm building my own brand. This is my brand. And I even hear like conscious people saying this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they're a brand and it's about their brand. And that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm a brand myself. But my thing is this. Do you have the business aspect of your brand down? Because anybody can sit there and make themselves look big to a bunch of high school and junior high kids who frequent YouTube. Anybody can make themselves, seem bigger than what they are. But how's your business end of it? You know what I'm saying? And what people need to realize, if you're trying to start your own business, especially a startup company, not only does it require a sizable amount of cash, you have to be able to get a small business loan. And if you don't have good credit, you're not going to be able to qualify for those business loans. You know what I'm saying? So it can very much affect you if you're trying to start a startup company, if you're trying to build your brand, things like that. And another thing that people who scream all this branding shit, who are always quick to scream that they have a brand. And my thing is, are you incorporated? Are you a LLC? Do you have a CPA, a certified public accountant? Do you have a CFA, a chartered financial analyst? Like, these are things that you have to know about. These are things that you have to have in order to keep your business running, in order to keep your brand. You know what I'm saying? Do you know how to use an Excel spreadsheet? Like, this is stuff that you have to know. That's why people can scream anything and scream about their brand and this and that and that. Unless they're making money off that brand and they have their finances together, I can't take them seriously. And y'all need to really be careful who y'all follow and who y'all listen to. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't even know, because you got some adults out here who don't even know what a CPA is. Every adult, by the time you're like in your 30s, you should have a CPA. I have a CPA, a certified public accountant. You know what I mean? Because before I started turning YouTube into my own business and before I got my LLC, I was the one doing my taxes. Me, my mother-in-law, she would help me every year. We'd do the taxes and stuff. But, once it became a business, something viable, I got me a certified public accountant. You know what I'm saying? She's not cheap, but she does what she needs to do. She keeps my taxes on point. There's certain things you can do, business write-offs, tax write-offs. If you're working for yourself, if you're doing YouTube, if you're running your own blog, you should know that you should keep minimum 30%, because you're working for yourself. There's no taxes being taken out. These are things that you should know. I take out 45% because not only do you have to pay federal taxes, state taxes. A lot of people forget about state tax. So I literally take out between 40 and 45% of everything I make per month, and I put it off to the side. In my bank account, I have my bank account split up into tiers. So I have a tier that says business tax account. So everything I make for the month, I take 40 to 45% of that, and I push everything over there for taxes. So these are things that, so many young people don't know and don't understand. And, I even try and explain some of this stuff to my son, and he just, he looks bored. And I don't know, it gets frustrating because I really want, young people to know about stuff like this and to become aware. This is stuff they don't teach you in school, unfortunately. Unless your parents teach you, a lot of people just don't know. A lot of kids just don't know. And that's why I really want to do this video series to help people, because again, credit is very important. Finance is very important. And a lot of kids, they want to do better. They definitely want to do better than even what their parents have done, but they don't know where to start. I hope that this video series helps you guys and at least gives you an idea where to go to build your credit, because again, credit worthiness is literally dominating in every aspect of our life. Even something as simple as your monthly utility bills are now being established based on your credit. And a lot of companies, let's say I moved from New York to Pennsylvania, right? I don't pay my final electric bill in New York. I want to get the electricity turned on in PA. They're going to run my credit and they're going to say, well, boo, you didn't pay your last bill in New York. We're not cutting out nothing here in PA until you pay that last bill. So that's what I'm saying. Like, all of these companies are communicating with each other via your credit report. So you have to be able to keep it up to par. So right now, if you don't have credit, this first series was to teach you about how to obtain credit, how to get a credit card, how to start establishing credit. I think in the next series, I'll talk about how to clean up your credit. If you kind of have things on your credit and you've made mistakes in the past and you want to start fresh, that will probably be part 2. So I don't want to make this video any longer. It's about 30 minutes right now, but I hope you guys take something away from this. I know this is different from my usual videos. I hope you were able to still sip some tea while getting some knowledge, but I just want the best for everybody. I love you guys so much. You guys keep me motivated and you guys keep me doing what I do here on YouTube. If it wasn't for you guys, I would have left a long time ago, you know what I'm saying, and just moved on to like other stuff because I have a lot of other things going on. But I do this and I keep making videos because of the comments that you guys leave, because of the messages that you guys send me. You guys encourage me to keep doing things like this. And thank you to everyone who encouraged me to do this credit video. And like I said, I'm not the most articulate person, but I just hope you guys were able to understand what I was saying and that you guys take something away from this and realize that credit is very, very important, even more important than savings. You saving $1,000, the bank doesn't know about that $1,000. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? But you having a credit card showing that you have $1,000, credit limit and everything's been paid on time and you've never missed a payment, that looks great to the bank. So we have to start shifting our thinking around. You know what I'm saying? Having good credit is not a white thing. Don't let people fool you. You know what I'm saying? Having good credit is a smart thing. It has nothing to do with race. I have very good credit, honey. Okay? I'm trying to get up in the 800s. That's how close I am. I've never been in the 800s. I'm trying to get up there. But, so it's not a white thing. You need to have good credit. You need to establish good credit. You need to have good spending habits. You need to learn about investments, savings, all that stuff. Educate yourself. You don't have to pay somebody for classes. Read, you know what I'm saying? Search. You guys have it so easy because you guys have access to Google and, YouTube videos, and you guys have access to so much stuff that I didn't have access to growing up. Just really research and search and just, absorb that wealth of information that's out here for you. So anyways, like I said, I don't want to make the video too long. I hope you guys enjoyed this first part of my credit series. All right, deuces. It's your girl T. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share my videos. You can also visit lovelyti.com to purchase any merchandise. Also, don't forget to click the boxes down below to watch any of my previous videos. Talk to y'all later. Deuces.